Guys, after hearing and seeing a little bit of my experience here water fasting, I thought you might really enjoy hearing from the supervisor, the fasting supervisor that I've had. He's actually the person who runs Tanglewood Wellness Center. His name is Loren Lockman, and he was kind enough to answer a couple of questions on camera. So I'm going to be putting up the interview in several parts because it's a little bit longer. And in this first part, he'll be telling us what water fasting actually is, how it's different from starving, and also why people fast and what the benefits are. So I hope you'll enjoy that. So I was wondering if you would be able to tell me a little bit about what fasting is.
Sure. Fasting is the voluntary abstention from all nutriment. So that means you're not consuming anything with the exception of pure water. No supplements, no juices, nothing else. There are people, of course, that use fasting in other ways. They talk about juice fasting.
Right.
And I would call that juice feasting because you're consuming both calories and nutrients. But the age-old textbook definition of fasting was no nutrients at all.
But how would that be different from, let's say, starving?
Right. Well, I think the answer is that they both occupy part of the same continuum, but different parts. When you're fasting, your body is living on reserve tissue. So everybody has reserves. Some people, as I like to say, are wealthy in nutrient reserves. There are people, of course, in the United States, for instance, more than 65% of the population is now overweight or obese. And so there are people that literally have months and months worth of reserves. But even people like yourself, when you came here, you were relatively lean. The average person still has at least 6 weeks of reserves. And so when we're fasting, our body is getting everything it needs, all the calories and all the nutrients it needs from those reserves. When we're starving, that process happens exactly where fasting stops. So if you fasted long enough, and you didn't, as you know, we currently have 4 people that are fasting for between 32 and 42 days. And some of those people are very lean. Were very lean when they got here, are now down to, say, 5 or 6% body fat. It's entirely possible that one or more of them will actually deplete all of their reserves. If they continue not eating past the point where all the reserves have been depleted, they're no longer fasting. They're now starving.
Mm-hmm.
So starving means that we're not eating, or we're not getting any nutrients or calories, and the body has depleted all its reserves and is now consuming vital tissue, muscle.
Okay. So why do people fast with you? Why do they come to Tanglewood?
Sure. Why would anybody pay to come here and not eat?
Yes.
Aside from, of course, to be around my sparkling personality, to enjoy this beautiful setting. Every species on the planet is self-healing and self-cleaning. Okay, the organism itself does all of the work of bringing itself back to health, and the various processes involved, repair, cleansing, growth, etc. These are all restorative processes. But the restorative processes are always something that happens as a result of the organism itself. Okay, so we might take medicine, we might take herbs, we might have somebody treat us in some way, some alternative practice, whatever it might be, but none of those things heal the body. The human body, like every other organism, heals itself. So what does it take for the body to heal itself? Well,
Right.
what it requires is as much energy liberated as possible. The less that we're doing, the less energy we're using for non-essential aspects of our lives, whether they include reading, writing, going to work, or processing food. The less non-essential things we're doing, the more energy is liberated to cleanse and heal the body. And so, although I know it sounds radical to most people, and perhaps radical to most people watching this video right now, the fact is that every single species on the planet, when it's sick enough or it's badly enough injured, will voluntarily stop eating. Okay, now it's important to understand, people say, well, that's because an injured, sick animal can't get to food. But if your cat or dog gets sick enough or it's badly enough injured, it'll lay on the floor. Okay, let's say it can't get up. You can take a bowl of its very favorite food and put it right in front of the dog's face. It still won't eat. Instinctively, they know that processing food requires more energy than anything else the body does. Anything the body normally does uses less energy than processing food. If there's a lot of restorative work that needs to happen, cleansing, healing, repair, whatever it is, we need to conserve those precious resources, those reserves of energy. And so we stop eating like every other species so that the body can take all that energy and shunt it to these much more important processes that need to happen.
Mm-hmm. And what types of benefits could one expect to experience after a fast?
Well, virtually all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, the thing I think to understand is that everything, if given the opportunity, and the right conditions, the time, the energy to heal, virtually everything can heal if it has a chance to. So the benefits that accrue to the organism, in this case the human body, are as varied and innumerable as there are potential issues. Here, over 15 years, and more than 2,000 people, we've seen improvements in eyesight, including blind people who now see. We've seen improvements in we had a young man who had lost his sense of smell from using cocaine. Completely returned. Hearing can return, and not people who are congenitively deaf, but someone who's lost their hearing, that's going to return. Digestion improves completely as we clean out the system. So we have people here now that one of their reasons for being here is they can't put on healthy weight. They want to build muscle and can't do it. And this is with eating a great diet and working out a lot, they still can't do it. They fast, they clean out their system, they give the villi a chance to renew themselves, and what happens is all of a sudden putting on weight is not difficult or challenging at all. I can keep going if you want.
And we do go on, but we move to a different location, and that will be in part 2. So stay tuned. It's really interesting because he'll be giving you a couple of fasting stories. Something to look forward to.